Aleister Black and Damian Priest are in a wild fight trying to settle their differences. Priest has been targeted by Black and he wants to know why. But it's actually Priest who gets fortunate when he dodges a black mass and Aleister Black is tied up in the corner. And then Priest wrenches him up and delivers an avalanche south of heaven that could very well unleash hell because it unlocks something in Aleister Black's eyes that looks like blood and fire. And as Priest is heading out for a match on SmackDown the week after, thinking that Aleister Black is behind him, he's actually in front of him. And Black has already laid out Damian Priest's opponent, and he stares into the cold void that is Aleister Black's eyes, and we hear an ominous noise. Priest is a student of the game and he knows exactly what that sound means and he's on full guard, but he also finds out that Black isn't working alone as he gets blindsided by a shot to the jaw. We have no clue who it was, but Aleister Black saunters up and says, "You better be careful. If you don't watch your back, the blood will flow and your soul will burn. You're just lucky you're not the only one we're after. The Prophet has more targets, but the devil doesn't come dressed in horns and a red cape. He comes as everything and everyone." Black suggests that they could be everywhere, and there might not only be two, but potentially three, and that they're being guided by a prophet. But their rivalry is guided directly to clash in Paris, where they indeed do clash in a no disqualification war to settle this once and for all. And it's a far more calculated and aggressive Aleister Black, which is a scary thought considering he's already that by default. But Priest is hardly a pushover. He's a former world champion, but not only that, he grew up fighting in literal street fights just like this. But as tough as he is, there's only so much he can do when things spiral out of control. Now, we are done, but our work is only getting started. The prophecy will be completed. Black is done with Priest, but we still have questions, like who's next on the list, but also who on earth has been helping him under the cover of darkness, and who is the Prophet? Well, it appears we're about to get the answer, and it takes everyone by surprise, because it happens on SmackDown during a tag match involving the Wyatt Six, and they've successfully defended their tag team championships against Andrade and Rey Fenix, and once again we see the lights flicker and the mood change, which is normal for a Wyatt Six match, which gets people's minds wondering, are they behind it all? Andrade, I've got one question. What rises from the ashes when everything is burned down around them? A phoenix. An alliance clearly forged by previous battles against each other in another life. Now they're drawing the blood of their enemies. And the crowd is stunned. No one can believe their eyes. Many thought it was the Wyatt Six's doing, but it couldn't be further from the truth. However, Aleister Black makes it very clear that this is only the beginning, and the Prophet has more soldiers than what you see. But what we do see the next week is the darker side that he's instilled in Phoenix, as he loads up and breaks the jaw of Andrade to send a message to everyone. Now the questions turn to who is next. They set off with what they say is no jurisdiction to find more of the Prophet's target, draw their blood, and burn their souls to ashes. But while they don't adhere to jurisdiction, they absolutely do have a criteria for who they go after. And they do attack. And it's violent, and it's swift, and it's Dominic Mysterio who gets decimated by Rey Fénix. And now, Aleister sets his foot under his chin and drags him up. He's gonna nail him with Black Mass, but before he can deliver the fatal blow, Finn Balor and JD McDonough storm out, and Dominic collapses to the ground and rolls out of the ring. But Finn looks right at Black and says, "I know why you're here. And you're right, the devil doesn't come dressed in horns and a red cape. He's everything, and he's everywhere, and he resides in me. And trust me, you don't want to wake that up." But Black stares right back at him and says, "Maybe I want to, Finn. Maybe that's why I'm here. Maybe I'm here to bring it out so I can bleed it dry. However, Finn, that's not the only reason I'm here either. Maybe I already awoke another demon." Penta Oscuro! Most people's worst nightmare, and now the third member, and according to Aleister Black, certainly not last member of this Dark Alliance. And Penta stands beside Aleister Black and his brother Fénix in the ring. And Aleister says, "You know, in many ways, this is all your fault. The prophecy will be done, and the blood will be spilled, and we will never give up until all of the prophets hand-selected souls burn. He will be here soon. This could be one of the most unexpected yet dangerous alliances we've ever seen, and it's clear that they have a very distinct list of targets, but it's those targets who decide together while conspiring backstage as the show is going on that they need to take this head on. And they head to Crown Jewel in Australia for a 6-man tag that to say has a dark cloud over it is an understatement. Because this is where we see the full danger on display. Because despite a hot start from the Judgment Day, who really haven't faced this kind of adversity for a long time, it's the violent synergy from this triad that leads to everything breaking down. But it's not the only thing that breaks, because JD's jaw goes at the feet of Fénix. And Dominic, terrified and in the grips of Penta, gets his own break. But the main fate is left for Finn, who is now 3-on-1. And he gets extra, because he seems to be one of the biggest targets of this so-called prophet. And together they team up, and it ends with Aleister Black, who wipes him out with a black mass. And this dark, brooding triad gets the victory. And Finn Balor is left laying like the targets before him. But while they've managed to contain the flesh and bone of Finn Balor, it might not be able to hold back what lies within. Finn, I know where this is going. I can already see it. You smear the paint across your face to become a demon. But the demon doesn't need paint. The demon is within you, and I told you I wanted to draw it out so I could bleed it out. And that's what I'm gonna do. Survivor Series. You bring yours, and I'll bring mine. The targets are falling, the prophecy is well on its way to completion, but what is also on its way is a war. And despite being banged up with broken arms and broken jaws, they have a plan, and it involves drawing them out of the darkness and into their own. And they call out this evil triad, and they talk the typical Judgment Day trash, and then they get exactly what they want. Black, Penta, and Fénix ominously saunter down, but this is exactly what Judgment Day needed. This is a statement, and it infuriates Aleister Black. And you can see it in his eyes that he might be bringing even more than a demon to Survivor Series. And it's clear, looking at him make his entrance in the arena, that is exactly what happens. But Aleister Black asked for something himself. And as he waits in the ring, he gets exactly what he asked for. It feels like it's a battle of two distinct evils, both driven by rage, and a rage that comes out in force when they meet. It's a collision that fans have wanted for a long time, and it doesn't disappoint. With the injuries and the carnage left behind them, they have the ring to themselves, and they tear it up. However, Black actually struggles against the power and will of Balor's Dark Passenger, and it looks more and more likely that this is going to end in the favor of that demon. But it's when Balor is looking to silence him and take the win, things get dark again. Priest eliminated. Balor eliminated, and Black, Penta, and Phoenix look over another ritual, which seems to have been reserved for select people. But it's one of them who the fans have speculated heavily on that is put on full guard in the middle of her match. You know what we can do, and you know why we're doing it. So take this as your first and only warning. Stay away. If you try and stop us from draining the blood from the Prophet's final selected soul, we won't be as forgiving. We certainly won't rise above our hate. So take care, because the freaks still come out at night. Rhea Ripley isn't the last soul. So who is? John Cena is standing ready to fight. He's long lost his WWE Championship, but he regained his soul in the process, and now they're here to take it and drain it dry. But Cena says, I knew you were coming for me. The signs were all there. But you've underestimated me, because while you three are dangerous, there is nothing more dangerous than a man with nothing to lose. I've got one date left. Saturday night's main event. So come on, which one of you wants some? Because you sure as hell can come get some. But Aleister, with the crowd going berserk in the background, is unmoved. And he just says, it isn't any of us you need to worry about. The final soul belongs to the Prophet. Edge, Cena, one last time. The crowd is absolutely going berserk. No one saw it coming. Everyone thought Edge was gone for good, but he's revealed as the Prophet, and it seems as though this is the soul that he wanted. And they have one final classic battle with all the callbacks and all the classic moves, all the hits that made them the legends that they are. And Cena has tried everything, AA after AA, but it's on the third attempt that Edge slips out and he nails him with a spear. But the hard exterior of the Prophet is clearly shaken. And he looks at Cena, who is still stirring, and he pauses for a moment, and out of respect, smashes him with another. He covers him. 1, 2, No! Cena kicks out, and he's still as defiant as he's ever been, and he struggles to the corner. And Edge looking a lot like he did when he started, and Cena showing the classic fight. It comes full circle, and Edge emotionally lands another spear. 1, 2, 3. And Edge doesn't celebrate. He just leaves the ring to John Cena. There's no ritual. There's no bloodbath. And we find out why. Because Edge never wanted Cena's soul. Just his time before it was up. The Prophet's hand-picked soul was his own. He hands the power of the Brood over to his disciples, and he's lowered into the flames silently to end his career. But while 2 legendary careers end, the legend of the Brood doesn't. It's just getting started.